Okay, just making sure I got everybody. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. And first of all, let me congratulate you. Okay, let me just mute a couple. I am friends with every single one. Okay. All right, I think I got everybody. Thank you again for tuning in tonight and congratulating you for being a leader, silver and above. You guys, that's a big step, and that's the biggest step that we, well, actually the first step that we have within Plexus, and a very important one, and I just want to congratulate you. I'll pat you in the back for being on this call tonight. We talked about doing some training in November, and you've probably seen more trainings popping up, and this is one of them, a leader's call. So this is going to be every other Monday, besides Erin, our Diamond Uplines call on her off days. So this will be on her off days. But this is going to be a continuation. So I know that there's a lot to talk about leadership and how to grow as a leader and how to develop good leadership habits. There's so much to talk about. So with that, I'm going to tap into the very basics today. If we have any questions, let's open it up after the call for questions. So first of all, you're on here, and first of all, I got to say, I don't know how I got with this call, because I'm like, gosh, there's so many areas that I can grow as a leader. Even if I made it to gold, senior gold, ruby, and senior ruby, and now emerald, there's so many areas that I still need to grow. So this is going to be good for me as a reminder as I'm sharing with you. It's also a good reminder for myself, because I know that I also have areas that I need to grow on. So, but first of all, if you ask yourself, gosh, I'm a leader, I just signed up for wholesale and now I have a team. You have of three or more, two or more, you have a team. You've actually influenced someone's life to join you. Now they look to you as a leader, so you're their sponsor. So what does that entail? Well, they come to you for questions. So be there for them. If you don't have the answers, that's okay. Let's look for the answers. I still have people ask me questions on my team and I don't know the answer, but I go looking for them. So that's totally okay. That's how we grow as leaders. If we don't have the answers, we look for them. So if you are asking yourself, I've doubted myself as a leader and I feel like I'm not capable of it. And I feel like there's areas I need to grow on. So it evolves. Leadership evolves as we, go with our team, and as we learn new things. It's just an ongoing thing that we can grow on. But let's start from here. From here on out, let's just say today is day one, and we want to focus on leadership skills. So the first one thing I want to recommend everyone to start off is by being present. Now, obviously, you are, because you're here, you're on this call. So being present is huge. Now imagine if I wasn't on any of the Touch Base Tuesdays. If Jen wasn't on any of the Touch Base Tuesdays, if Christy was not on any of the Touch Base Tuesdays, what would that show her team? Or what would I show you if I was not on these calls? So we need to lead by example, be role models, and be present. I think being present is the number one thing. And I think that's one of the things that I like about our team, is that we're all united, but we're also present. And by being present, I mean that in being communicative with your team, being there for answers, for questions. And if you don't know them, remember, that's okay. Be on the team page. We have team pages, Team Health and Wealth. Some of you also have team pages. Be present. But again, take a step back. And this is what I tell myself. Take a step back. And what am I portraying? What am I leading? What am I teaching my team? Because sometimes I can just throw stuff on there, and I don't know if it's making sense. But if they see that you are active on your team page or on the big team page, if they see that you make a post, that you commented, they see that because they're your friends and they get those notifications. So it's super important to stay engaged and be present. Just like you're on here tonight, just like you participate in Touch Base Tuesdays. If I was not on Touch Base Tuesday, then I couldn't expect that from Kelly. I wouldn't expect that from Brenda, because I'm not showing up, so I wouldn't expect that from them. On the trainings, we also have Zooms, and we have, you can lead your team by one-on-one. If you don't have a team page right now, That's perfectly fine. We started off by starting team pages, but then it just became a sense of duplication and keep seeing the things over and over again that people stopped tuning in. Imagine if you saw the same post 5, 6, 7 times. It would get annoying and you'd tune out, right? I know I did, because I thought, oh, it's the same thing. I won't see it again. So now that we have one big page, the Team Health and Wealth, that's my go-to page, and that's where I post everything, and that's where all of us will post it. And encourage you guys too, if you have something to add, talk to your leader, or if or you can post stuff on there, and they just need to be approved. But that's a good resource for us to add our new people, and to it's our go-to information for products, business information, what's coming up, all those kinds of fun things. If you don't have a team page, this is another good way to stay in contact with people on your team. One-on-one messages. We have Messenger. We have phone calls. I have slacked, and I have not gotten into the habit of picking up the phone. Only with those that I'm closer. Like I'll call Brenda, I'll call Maria, I'll call Kelly, Jen, my sponsor. I'll call them. But then there's others that I'd rather text, and so I kind of should take back and say, you know what, just pick up the call and call them. Leave them a voice message. That's totally fine. One-on-ones, if you have a local team, meet with them for coffee, meet with them for after hours, after work or something. Meeting one-on-one is also another great way to train and be present with your team. Some of us have threads, and what I mean by threads is by Messenger. I have a thread with so-and-so's team. I have a thread with my leaders. I have a thread with my sponsors. All these different threads that you can create groups with. So that's another good way to stay in contact and to show leadership and be present to your team. One of the great things about our company and our products and the way that we start people off is that we're there for them. See, my husband was on other products prior to Plexus, and he bought the kit, and no one ever reached out to him like, hey, how are you doing? Today's day 1, today's day 7. How are you doing? How are you feeling? No one reached out to him. And so here he is with a 30-day supply of something that he was just given the instructions that came with the packaging, and that was it. Okay, that's the way some other people or other companies run their business, but not us. The beauty that we do is we truly care about people's success, and we want to help them reach their goals. So when someone signs up with you as a ambassador or a customer, you send them a welcome email, or you get them on the call and you say, hey, I'm so excited that you've started. Or you send them a message, right? On Messenger, on text. We have that communication from day one. And we do the follow-up with them. And so that's one of the things that people don't expect from us, but when they see it, that's customer service. Have you ever gone to a restaurant or a store where the manager or the clerk goes the extra mile for you and bags the stuff, puts them in your cart? Maybe they walk you out to your car and put the groceries in your car. That's customer service. So we want to portray that and keep following that to our people that join us and our friends and family that join us, either as customers or ambassadors. So it's that communication, that constant communication and the following up with them that we want to keep duplicating that down. So next thing is duplication. When somebody joins your team, do you have a process? Because for a while I didn't. I just signed people up and then gave them instructions, and that was it, and then followed up. But then again, I was like, oh, I'm setting them up for failure. So think about if you just come in, you want direction. You want to know how to take your products. If you've been added to a team page, you want to know why they added you to that team page. You want to know everything in the know. So when somebody joins my team, now you may have different systems, and that's okay, but just have a system that works for you or something that's duplicatable from your upline. I know we've mentioned ambassador checklist. So that's another good way to lead your team is with an ambassador checklist. There's also a 24/24. It's like a little document, and it's in the files section. This is like the first 24 minutes, the first 24 hours, and the first 24 days. And it's almost like the ambassador checklist, but it gives you a idea of, okay, we've done this. And then it's giving the proper instructions so that when they go out and they recruit somebody, guess what? They're going to do the exact same thing you told them to do. If you didn't give them instructions on how to set up a subscription order, do you think when they recruit somebody, they're going to talk to them about their set up a subscription order? No. Will they talk to them about a welcome post? No, because I didn't talk to them about a welcome post. So it duplicates. So think about the leader that you want to be, the leader that you are, the characteristics and the traits that you want to carry, and that is what's going to duplicate on down as a ripple effect to your team. Because I know, if I shared something with Brenda, I know Brenda's going to duplicate that with her level ones. Her level ones, Christy is going to duplicate that on with her level ones, and so forth. And it's just going to go all the way down the chain. So that is what is going to duplicate down. So we want to be good, excellent role models of what we want to duplicate. So there's something here as simple as having them write down their website. How many of you have been reached out to by your new ambassador, and they're like, I can't find my website, what is it? And then you tell them, oh, it's the one that you chose when you signed up. Well, they didn't write it down. But if it's in their checklist or something, like, they write it down. Get them plugged into the team pages. I know Elizabeth talked about this in one of our other calls. We have the Inside Scoop page and we have Team Health and Wealth. So sometimes we add them to these pages, but we just add them. And think about if you've been added to a page or a group or a party and no one even mentioned to you why you were added, you go and take yourself out, right? Because there's no point of, you don't know what it's for. I think I took myself out even though I was told. But, that's the thing. You want to duplicate and you want to tell people what that page is for and welcome them. So once they feel welcome, they get to see that culture on the team page. People welcome them and you set up a little brief description. You don't have to, but you can, of what their goals are, their why. That is just another neat way to welcome them. People know a little bit about them. Establish their why. And I think as leaders, we need to know all of our level ones' whys, even though their why can change. Like I've had people join me just for the products, just because they wanted to get healthy. But then they turned into business leaders and they grew a team. So now their why is more about the products. It's more about also building a team, helping their leaders reach their goals and so forth. So get to know their why, because if I know their why, then they're going to also, if they know their why, they're going to also ask the why for the people that they're recruiting. And remember, the why is super important in everything, because that's what sets us apart from knowing why they've joined. If they've fallen back, if they just don't order the product or, the subscription for whatnot, that why is super important. So again, we want to make sure that we're adding them to team pages, that we're giving them the proper instructions to get started. And here's something that I've slacked up in the past, and it was giving them business information. Because they signed up just for wholesale, I didn't give them the compensation plan, or I didn't talk to them about the ways to earn with Plexus. Now I've just set them up for failure, and I didn't talk to them about the business. So then when they recruit somebody, they're not going to talk to them about the business plan or the compensation or, the ways to earn or getting your product paid for, because I didn't talk to them. So that was my mistake. That is also going to trickle down. So make sure that you have a plan once you sponsor somebody. And that's welcoming them, instructions, business, products, setting them up with a 3-way with your sponsor so that they get to know and welcome. And then follow-up is super important. Follow up. Have a list. If you can have a checklist of all your ambassadors, and then check in with them, even if it's just once a month, even if they're just wholesalers, after the first, week, 3 weeks, and then how they're doing, if they want to get their products paid for. But follow-up is super important, and it shows that you care about them. They see you as a leader, they see you as a sponsor, and they see that you're having proper communication with them and constant communication with them. If you do your IPA, and see, some of us, I may not know what Jen does. I may not know what Elizabeth does, though I do know what they do, though. But let's say, for example, my level 1 doesn't know what I do, and they just think like, oh, I'm just home all day. So doing constant IPA. And what is IPA? IPA is income producing activities. So it's fun to have a thread with your team and just say something like, oh my gosh, today I reached out to a dreamer, even though I had sweaty hands and whatnot. I'm not bragging that I reached out to a dreamer, but I'm telling my team I'm doing my IPA. I'm still reaching out to people on my chicken list, or I'm reaching out to teachers or whoever it is that I'm still reaching out to potentials, that I'm getting my IPA done, follow-ups, connecting and engaging, doing power half hours. That's what we do when we do these power half hours. Show up and do your work. If they see that I'm not on power hours, well, then I'm not showing that I'm doing IPA. But even just a little shout out to yourself, and just saying, okay, today I did my hour already, or I did 30 minutes already. Stay engaged with what you're doing, because sometimes people assume that you don't do anything, even though you are, but it also takes great accountability. So doing your IPA daily increases also your chances to grow your business, help others, because I know we're all here in the business for helping others. But your IPA is super important. And if I'm doing my IPA, and I can show with my team, if I jump on a power half hour with my team and do IPA together, you know what, we just did that together. Let's see. Have you guys heard of the law of the lid? This is by John Maxwell, and I actually love to follow him. And I recently got these little DVDs, if you're in the car a lot. But I got that from Leadership 101. It's also in the Refutable Laws of Leadership. And so I want you to step back and look at yourself and think, okay, where is my leadership? And think about from a level 1 to 10. Okay, if 10 is like, okay, I'm there, I get it, I'm leading a successful team, I'm present here, I'm doing this, I'm doing leadership, I'm doing training, I'm doing everything, connecting, following up, everything, but I still have areas to grow. So maybe a 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. Or if you're a 1, it's okay to be where you're at. It's totally fine. Everybody's level of leadership is completely different from someone else's. But let me tell you, if my level of leadership is a 7, and I'm not, that's not really where I am, maybe a little lower. But if my level of leadership is a 7, what I'm going to cover to my team, what I'm going to give to my team is actually a level 6. Because I'm not that leader for them. So I don't expect them to be a level 8 to match me. But what I'm giving them is a level 7. If I want my team to excel in leadership, then I need to raise that lid. So think about it. If you have a jar, okay, I have hot water here with lemon. But if I have this lid right here, nothing's going to overflow off that lid. See, so I've maxed my team with that leadership. So if I want to develop leaders, and if I want them to excel, I need to raise that lid. So think about what your level of leadership is, and where hang tight, and where you want to be, and where you want your team to be. Okay. Successful people know their strengths and they know their weaknesses. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down your strengths. Strengths are easy to find. Weaknesses are also, some are hard, some are a little bit more challenging. But I want you to take a couple minutes and write down what your strengths are as a leader. So if you're great at connecting with people, if you're great at signing people up, let's just say, for example, I'm really good at signing people up. I have a really great sense of influence over people. People look up to me. I can sign people up, no problem. But my weakness is I am not developing leaders. What is it that I'm not, translated? What is it that I'm not passing on down? So that would be a weakness of mine. Or I'm not getting them off started in the right path. Maybe, your weakness can be, or your strengths. If you're great at organization, that's your strength. If you're great at presenting, if you're great about product knowledge, if you're great about posting on social media, if you're great about talking in front of people, if that's your weakness, that's your weakness. That's totally okay. Your strengths and weaknesses is what makes you. But to take a step back and to get to know what those are is even greater. Because I want you to identify what your strengths are, and you have people on your team that have strengths that you don't have. So let's say, for example, I'm thinking at Christy. I can see Christy right here. I don't have the strengths that Christy has as far as organization. Okay, I don't have the strengths that Christy has as far as being techie and computer and doing all this stuff. So because that's a weakness of mine, I can look down at my team and say, hey, can you help me out with this? And it's totally fine. Raise up leaders. When you have a team and you have a weakness, give them that strength. If they have that strength, empower them. It feels nice when I get reached down to by Elizabeth and by Jen and they ask me to lead something. I was like, you know what? Just tell me what it is you want me to do. And I'll do it. I'll figure it out. If I don't have it, I'll figure it out. I'll do it. It feels good when Jen and Elizabeth tells me to cover something, or Erin. So if somebody comes to you and says, can you lead this? Could you help me with this? Feel great that somebody thinks that you have the capacity to do something of such magnitude. And if you have a weakness, my advice for your weakness is to grow on it. It's good to have weaknesses, okay? We were not perfect. If you have a weakness, for example, mine was time management, and it still is time management. I went and researched books that would help me stay on track with time management. So there's a book called Eat That Frog. I don't know if you've heard it. But that book helped me maintain a track of my time and where my time wasters were and where I need to focus. So there's books for everything. My recommendation for personal growth, is to identify your strengths and weaknesses and build up on your weaknesses. Every leader needs to build up on your weaknesses. And we all have them, even as a person, even as a mom, even as a daughter. I have weaknesses, but we only grow if we identify them and we grow from them. So if you have a weakness, my recommendation is to look into personal development. There's books, there are podcasts, and I don't know Androids, but I know that iPhones have a podcast app, and you can follow leaders like Bob Heilig, John Maxwell, all these people, Eric Worre. And if you're on the car, if you're working out, if you're going for a walk, these are excellent ways to tap into that and just listen to it. And you can replay it, you can save it, you can forward it. Yes, TED Talks, super, 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 super good. YouTube, you guys, if you just Google YouTube and put in follow-up Plexus, you're going to come across all these different leaders that have made a YouTube video and made it open for you to see. Jen recently shared diamonds that she likes to follow on the team page. Now, those are musts. I always tune into them and look at them. I remember when I first started, I guess 2 years ago, Melissa Eichenhorst did a video on how to follow up. And I watched that. I probably replayed it about 20 times. And I have all the notes about the follow-ups, how a certain percentage, will sign up or purchase from you, to the big percentage after the 8th or 12th follow-up. So write notes on these videos. I have to write notes because, I'm a visual learner. So identify what it is that you need to grow on and pass this on. As a leader, and if you have a thread, if you have a page, I highly recommend that you tap into these little tidbits that you learn and share them with your team. That's how I learn, is by repetitive motion in hearing it. So if I say it out loud, it clicks back into me. Okay, it's like that book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. We know things in our head, but do we really capture them? Until you say them out loud and then you hear them, then it clicks to me and it stays. So think about the next exercise I want you to do is think about a leader that you look up to. And this leader can be a Plexus ambassador. It could be a leader in religion. It could be a leader in politics, whatever. Think of a leader that you highly, highly, highly look up to. Write their name down. And what I want you to write underneath their name is what are the characteristics that makes them a great leader. You know, I may not have all the characteristics that I have, that my leader, my future leader, or my favorite leader has. I may not have them, but I can sure practice them. And once I practice them, then I start to believe them. And then they start to be part of who I am. So that also translates into leading a team, into leading your ambassadors, into leading your customers. I highlighted a quote here from John Maxwell. I really like John Maxwell, by the way. And this one says, "The proof of leadership is found in the followers." And that to me stuck out like, whoa, okay. Am I being followed? Am I being looked upon? What am I portraying to my team, you know, to my family, to, you know, just in general? Who follows me? Who am I influencing? So if I feel like I'm not being followed, if I feel like what I'm posting on my social media is not being liked or commented, then I think, okay, am I where I need to be? Am I where I need to, or is that proof? Can I grow? You know, if I'm leading a team, I want to make sure that I am the good leader for them, that I'm there, that I can listen to them, that they are open, that I'm approachable too, because I want to hear, you know, what areas I need to grow on, and I need to know what they need to be led by. So from that, I can grow too, right? Let's see. I know we're wrapping up here in 30 minutes, and I'm probably going in circles now, but think about, this was something that came from us at Super Saturday, and it was casting a vision. And we have that ability to cast visions on people. When somebody joins your team and they say they want to improve their cholesterol, they want to earn $100 extra, or perhaps you're reaching out to one of your best friends, and that best friend, and you have a vision for your friend. You're like, what if you were able to stay home? What if you were able to quit your 80-hour job week? What if? And so then you kind of map this little dream for them, and then you see this vision for them, because obviously you see it, they may not see it. But this is a great way for us to lead our leaders and to show them the potential and the capacity that what they have, that they may not see within themselves, but to show them the vision of their goals, their why, and how to get there. They know that where they want to go, they just don't know how to get there. Is Plexus possibly the vehicle to get them there? It could be, but they don't know how. So you could cast that vision for them. And that's how we empower them to build and to pursue and to be consistent with posting, to be consistent in following up, and to be present on the phone calls, on the leadership, on the Zoom trainings, on Touch Base Tuesdays, and to be present. And again, I just, we have all, we're all here. Some of you here are here signed up specifically for the business, and you knew you wanted to grow a team. Some of us didn't. And so now we're leading a team of 3, 5, 10, 20, 100 more. And it's like, okay, now what? So I just want you to think of ways to grow, ways to define your strengths, to define your weaknesses. And then next week, we're going to talk, in 2 weeks from today, we're going to get more in depth as to how to reach out to your leaders and to how to cast that vision, how to follow up with them, and how to do trainings with them, how to better communicate with them. I bet you're already communicating with them, but how am I going to be there for them? Sorry, okay, where am I at with time? I don't even know where I'm at with time. Okay, so I'm going to unmute, or if you guys want to unmute yourself, and if you have any questions or some things that just pop up as we're talking about these things, some things that have worked for you, some things that you want to see, if you want to share your weaknesses, sorry, your strengths. I'm going to pause the recording now.